The story of international development has really got to do with the long-term time frame in which development takes place. If we look at the history of Africa, which at the Congress this morning we've been talking about with a number of African leaders, which I think has been exemplary for the SID Congress to be able to bring them here. And their story is about a struggle that started way after independence. And if we were to ask ourselves the question of South Africa and apartheid, and if we were to say that we only had a 5-year project to unravel the intractable problem of apartheid, I don't think we would have actually achieved our goal. And that sort of exemplifies why international development has to be a long-term endeavor. It's just an example of when a whole range of international actors come together, what they can achieve if they are willing to put their minds and effort to a problem over a long period of time. This morning we talked quite a lot about famine in the Horn of Africa, and it's similarly an intractable problem which is not going to be addressed within a few years. It will require the establishment of institutions. And I think so really the message of international development is about that long-term time frame that's needed. And I think if you're talking to an audience in the West, if you're talking to American citizens, it is important to demonstrate to them that in their own country, the civil rights movement would not have been able to achieve things in a 5-year time frame. What it needed was support of international civil society, local civil society, national government efforts over a systematic period of time to achieve what we have been able to achieve. And here we are, with an African-American president, which many of us would have thought was not possible in our lifetime. So similarly, I think the problems of Africa, which we think are intractable today, are likely to be very much resolved if we're able to give it the attention it needs. Well, you see, the Aga Khan Development Network works both in Asia and Africa, and I think that the best example I have about impact over a period of time is in the country of Tajikistan. There, after the Soviet Union collapsed, there was a crisis, and a crisis of huge humanitarian proportions, where people were not having the food that was being distributed through the Soviet system. So the Aga Khan Network went in 1992 and did a fairly substantial food distribution program. But within a space of 10 years, we've found that those communities were able to become self-sufficient through the delivery of agriculture development programs and rural development programs, education programs, health programs. And again, so that's another example of how if an institution, if a group of institutions are prepared to stay the time, you might actually be able to shift from a desperate situation of famine to a situation where the population is able to maintain its own needs. And I think that's some of the sort of values of what SID is about, that attention to international development over a long period of time, which makes me particularly happy to be part of it.